Hola YouTube, my name is Ricardo Lino and I'm a wheel addict. Welcome to the review of the, hey, that was good, NN SUMO frame. The NN SUMO frame is a 4x110 frame with a slight rockered configuration. I will explain you a little bit more about what that slight rockering is, why do you need it, and actually I will also explain you the two different types of rockering that this brand is making at the moment and also where you can find them. So stay there and enjoy this.
I do believe it's my appointed duty to tell you when I'm feeling kinda gloomy. A swinging beat is all I need to soothe me. Then all my cares and worries seem to lose me. Cause there ain't nothing like the sound of jazz. When I slip into the beat, it goes right through me. That's when I feel the rhythm start to groove me. The only kind of music that can move me. So don't you even bother trying to fool me. Cause there ain't nothing like the sound of jazz. Cause when I hear those drums beating four to the bar, it makes me wanna swing and sway. And when the saxophone wails, it never fails to chase my blues away. So when you're feeling lonely, let me tell ya, just slip into the beat and let it groove ya. It's Dizzy Duke and Ella that can cool ya. So do I did it, let me school ya. Cause there ain't nothing like the sound of jazz.
So if you've been watching this channel for a couple of months, you might have seen me skating very consistently, very regularly on Endless frames. The truth is, Endless is a company that makes I would say, a quite similar product to what this is. This is a product that came after Endless, a couple of weeks, a couple of months later, but it is a little bit different. So what is this NN frames? I'm pretty sure you guys saw this frame before. This is the Wizard frame, and I would say that this is the original of the slight rockered frames. Previous to this frame, you did have other rockered frames such as hockey frames or slalom frames. And rockered frames, what are those? Basically, those are frames, or these are frames that have the middle wheels lower than the ones that are in the front and the back. They can be 3, 4, or 5 wheels, that I know. Yeah, I think that's it. You always need more than 2. And what the originator of Wizard did was it basically used the same concept, somehow a little bit different because it tweaked the rockering a little bit, calling it natural rockering. That's why this is called the NR frame. But it's very, very slight. And the advantages of that is that you will have the stability of a long frame, but at the same time you will have the maneuverability of a rockered frame. So this was the original, the Wizard frame. But the Wizard frame is UFS, meaning that it's flat on top, even if the Wizard frame has the front and the back. But having a UFS frame will limit you a lot when it comes to supportive boots. Okay? There are amazing boots for this, which is usually the Seba SX or the Seba CHA. But other than that, there's not really a lot that you can use with this. Now, when you use a frame like this, or as I just said, like this is the Endless, then you have a lot more options. In this case, I'm using a Macro Delta F. This is fully customized with a different cuff and all that. But the truth is, when you use a 165 mounting frame, you will have a lot more boot options. And for me, that's a very good thing. I wouldn't say it's an advantage. For me it is, for some people might not be, so I would just say it's a good thing. This frame, as I just said, it's somehow similar to this. And the reason why I said it's similar, it's because it also has that 165 mount. It's not flat. the heel, the back part of the frame, the mounting part, is a little bit taller than the front part on the end ends, and that, as I just showed you, on the endless. Now, this one is a 4-wheel only configuration, when this one is a 4 and 3-wheel configuration. So I already showed you that these 3 frames are actually different. The 3 of them have a slight rock ring configuration, but they are different. This one 3/4, this one only 4 but UFS, this one only 4 but 165. And then as a couple of different frames on the market, they start in 84s, they have 484s, they have 3 times, I don't want to say anything wrong, but it's 3 times 100 or 3 times 110, I'm not really sure. And then they have 4 times 100, 4 times 90, and 4 times 110, and they also have a 5 times 80. I do know that the exact same frame that I have here come in 2 different slight rock ring configurations. There is the V rock ring configuration and the VM configuration. This one is the V rock ring configuration. What does that mean? That means that when I press in the front, the first, the second, and the third wheels are down. The 3 of these wheels are touching. When I lean back, I have the last and the second to last wheel on the floor. If you have the VM configuration, which is right now on back ordering, and this is being recorded in mid-February 2021, and the difference with the VM that it's coming in a couple of weeks, 5 or 7 weeks from now, is the second wheel is a little bit higher, a very tiny bit higher. And what that makes is that when you lean back, you will be on the back 2 wheels. When you go in the middle, you're going to be in these 2 wheels. And when you go in the front, you're going to be on these 2, which is more similar to what you get on a slalom frame, but I guess a lot more slight, like a very minimal. Okay? I can't really say how they feel because I haven't tried it, but today I'm going to talk about these and how they feel. And let me start by telling you that I really enjoy how long they are, but I also hate it how long they are. I love it because they are very stable when it comes to balance. You can lean back a lot, you can lean front a lot, and that's very cool. But at the same time, when you want to do crossovers, it's very easy if you're not used to a long frame to just touch with the back wheel on the front of the other one, and then you might fall, you might not, but it can happen. Other than that, having 4 times 110, it's heavy. It's even on a carbon boot that it's supposed to be a lighter boot, it's a very heavy setup, but I wouldn't say that's a con. It's something that you know that you will get if you're gonna get a solid 4 times 110 frame. And this is a solid frame. You don't see any holes here. You see a solid frame. That's basically what it is. Now, there is one thing that I need to say. For such a solid frame, I would expect this frame to be a little bit more rigid on top. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing, but obviously this is not as tall, but when I press on the bottom part on the wizard, I press it as much as I want and there's no give. Basically these walls will not close. When I do the same on an endless frame, it's basically the same as the wizard, there's no give. Again, this is a 90s frame, this is a 100, which is obviously there's less leverage. When I do it on the 110, which I can't really do it here because I got the wheels, I feel there's a little bit more give, but as I just said, the walls are also a little bit taller, so that makes it harder for it not to do that. But at skating, when I skate it, I don't feel any give. Okay, so it's something that you would feel when you grab the skates out of the box, but when you skate it, you don't feel it at all, especially because obviously these are using a one-threaded axle, a one-sided threaded axle. That means that you only need one tool to change the wheels. It goes from this side and it threads on that side. So because of the pressure applied by this axle, it's basically the same as having bridges here, so there's no way for your frame to open or close, unless, of course, the four axles come loose at the same time, which is very unlikely going to happen. Something that I really like about this is the frame mounting options. There's a lot of frame mounting options, but there's also a wrong thing with it. It's not about having a lot of frame mounting options, it's about having let me get a tool. Let me show you something. So, if I take one of the wheels, I don't know if I can show it to you here, but the slots that you have for the bolt to go through, the one that fixes to the boot, they are very wide, which in theory would be amazing because it would give you a lot more options when it comes to shifting the frame from one side to the other. But obviously, the head of the bolt, it's not the same width as the threaded part. So that means that even if you have the whole slot very wide, when you push it to the side, there's the part that the head of the bolt starts eating against the wall of the frame and it doesn't go more. And also, because the bottom of the walls are not square, they are rounded, they are actually cutting some of the room that you would have. Because if it would be square, then the bolt, this is the bolt head, this is the bolt, the threaded part, this is the bolt head. The bolt head would be able to come all the way to the side. But because it's rounded, once it gets here, it doesn't go more. So that's something that could very easily be changed for a next model, I would say. Maybe not using the slot so wide and also not having the bottom there rounded. I would say have it square and with a shorter slot. But other than that, yeah, it has a lot of options on these ones. These ones are the SUMO 4x110s. They have 2 mounting options in the front and, if I'm not mistaken, 4 in the back. So with such an amount of mounting options, that means that this is not just a 165 frame. I don't want to say anything wrong, but I think it's a 150, 165, 180 and 195. And if you didn't know, 195 frames are used on speed boots. So if you want to use this frame on a speed skating boot and do a marathon, I wouldn't advise you, but it will fit. So that could be a cool thing. Now, advantages of using a 4x110. I think the main advantage will obviously be speed, but the acceleration is not the same as if you're using a 4x84 or 4x90. It's going to take a bit more for you to move. For you to move from one side to the other, it's going to take a bit longer, which is actually cool too. It makes once you get used to it, it makes your movements flow better, in my opinion. Also because they're heavy, and being heavy also makes your movements be slower. But I actually like them. Something that I also think is actually an advantage is because they're so tall, you are able to go from one side to the other more. And as I just said, it's not as easy to go from here to here. So when you slide, if you didn't know, you're going to know now. You're going to learn now. For you to be able to slide, you need to be more on the side. If your skate is straight, you get stuck and you fall. So when you start sliding, it's easier to control because the shifts that you can do with your feet are not as quick. So if you start sliding, you can actually control it because you go like, if you need to bring your feet up, it's going to be harder. But at the same time, in my opinion, it's very cool for sliding because of that. You can very easily edge and go to the sides of it without the boot touching. Now, if you don't have a very supportive boot, it might not be a good option to get the 4x110 frame. Other than that, I don't think there's a lot more that I can say about this frame. I can tell you that these frames cost $199. And at the moment, you can only buy them at the NN website. I have been in contact with NN to be able to carry these on my skate shop, the WheelAddict.shop. But until like a month ago, they had no structure for other shops to sell it. So they could only be able to sell them via their online shop. We are still trying to find a way for, at least for my shop, to sell it. I don't know if there's any other shops interested, but that's something that would be actually very cool, because if people like the product, it would be cool to work with skate shops so more people around the world would be able to get to these frames. Do I like it? Yes, I do. I think it's a cool product. There's some minor tweaks that I would still do, but for the boot that I use, for the wheels that I have, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I would still like the option of being able to transform these as also a 3x125, but it's not the type of frame that this is. So this is a 4x110 with a slight rockering, and that is something that worked with me. It's maneuverable, it's stable. I like the looks of it. It's big. I like it. I really like it. I wish there would be some lighter wheels on the market, but I don't think that's an option, especially for the type of skating that I want to do. Something that would be strong enough, something that would be very light. It doesn't exist. So I guess if I want to keep skating with these, I will need to adjust. I will need to adjust to the extra weight. Other than that, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something about the NN SUMO V rocket frames. Quite a long name, huh? I hope you learned something about this skate today. If you did enjoy this video, before you even like it, because I know you are going to like it, the first thing that I expect from you is to subscribe to this channel. There's also a little bell on the side. You can press on that bell so you will get notifications every time I upload one of these. And even if I haven't been uploading that much, because right on my left side, I just finished building a skate park, which is going to be one of our next videos. But if you want to support what I'm doing with these reviews, with that skate park, with other stuff that I do, which is basically creating skate content and try to grow skating as much as I can, well, you can also join the members of this channel. There's a little join button on the bottom of this video, and there's a couple of different perks, and I try to make as much exclusive content as I can for the members of this. So if you want to join that group, you're more than welcome. You don't need to. I would appreciate it, but I still appreciate that you guys watch these videos. Now, with that being said, if you didn't like this video, if you really didn't like it, you can give me a thumbs down. Let me know what you didn't like about this video. But more important than anything else, just like I always say, don't ever forget why we all started skating, and that is because it's fun. Now, I just realized that I have a headphone. Sorry, Alex, you should have told me again. Sorry, you guys can go back to all the videos that I've done and check how many times I have a headphone. Damn it, I need to change that. Cheers.